Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. It's going to be a fairly chill one again, because of reasons. That's the way that I'm going to leave that one for now. Yeah, it's been a busy day. It's been a long day, and I just thought I'd have a little bit of a natter. Plus, I am trying to keep up with my doing. That's too small. With my doing streams as often as I can thing. I was aiming for one. Jesus, for a streaming video a day for as long as I could, and clearly that one hasn't paid off. But I thought I'd hop on, see how things are going. I might do the video recording for the morning on stream, just because I think that gives us a little bit of a something. It could be a little bit different, you know, a little bit of an early insight into what goes down. But yeah, that could be quite fun. Idea being, because I know what the video is going to be on, it's going to be on a specific Premier League player that we've reached out to and been like, let's have a little bit of a chat. Would you like to come to Leeds United? And I feel like doing that on stream could be quite nice and sort of give an insight into like the stuff the members are getting early, you know? In addition to that, I also got a thing to announce. It is one of the prizes for the raffle for the charity match. I think I've been mentioning it in other various places. It's one of the shirts. It's going to be something like combining all three of the shirts, 60-ish in total printed for the charity match, which means that you can get yourself one of what is going to be a relatively rare shirt, which is very nice. One second. So yeah, that should be quite good. I'll be drawing that on the 31st of May, so you'll need to get your tickets before that because I just need to get it printed and all that kind of stuff because it's going to be customized with number and name and everything, which is going to be quite nice. But links for tickets are down below, and the more tickets we can get sorted as soon as possible, the better, because that's really going to help the event. Anyway, yeah, general little bit of natter. Is going to take us in the direction of the video that we're going to do. So I'm going to put the banners together, have a little bit of a chat whilst I'm doing the banners, just because that makes things a little bit easier. And you know what? I quite like these little chatty streams. They're always nice and chill, you know. So let's pop the name there. Very useful. Well done for all the hard work you put into chat box. Thank you very much, Aloka. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's one of those where it's taken a hell of a lot of time, a decent chunk of effort, but if it pays off in the way that I hope it pays off, it's going to be great, and that's sort of the goal. That does rely on getting as many people present as possible, just because like the level of like time and effort we're putting into like the on the day presentation and the production and stuff is huge. So having folks there to sort of make it on the video side sound as big as we can is going to be very, very useful. So, yeah. But also, in order to do that, we need to know how many people there are, and then the spiral continues because it's always a little bit of a pain in the bottom. One second, I'm just writing up a couple of banners and bits. If you need a hand with anything, let me know. I'll be attending either way. Thank you very much, Derby Days. That would be a maybe. If you can you either ping me an email on the charity match email that I've put below, or like ping me a DM on some form of social media? Purely because I'm trying to get some bits organized at the minute, and having people like actually organize is going to be really, really useful, I feel. And then I'll go. Some moves. ... You see, you've got to go mysterious when it comes to your banners, and then fairly simple banner structure. Who is it? Why they could work. Competing clubs. My concerns. Where would they fit in? Would I sign them? And finally, the good old, what do you think? There we go. That's always a good way to end a video. I always like asking what you guys think, because I do, like, as much as I've not been, like, hearting and replying to all the comments and all that stuff now, it's because, like, how do I explain this without feeling like, oh, woe is me? Because I really, really like my job. I've got a fantastic job, and it makes me very happy. Is that zoom a little bit too intense? Yeah, that'll do it. But it's also a job where today I decided to treat myself to a lie-in. So I had a lie-in till about 9:30, and then work started at 10:30, and work finished at 10. So it was a very, very, very busy day. Which is why it's sort of like going through comments and everything is a pain. Also, fun fact, I crossed through 6,000 subscribers earlier today, which made me very, very happy. That was one of those where it's sort of like, it was the deadline day of the last transfer window that got me from 5 to 6,000, which was, I will be honest with you, it's taken way too long to get to 6 for me. Well, I went from 4 to 5 on the last transfer deadline day, and it's taken the entire season to go from 5 to 6. So it's fine, you know, these things happen. But more of a note of, there were periods throughout the season where I dropped off a little bit, and it's like, let's not do that if we're in the Premier League, purely because of how YouTube works, is the way I'm going to put that. Because YouTube be a bitch. One quick moment. Cool. Sorted. Right. So I am going to dive in headfirst to the video recording a bit, if you guys want, because I think that could be quite fun. It'll be nice. As I do with all of my video recordings, I'm going to start by going test, 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 words, 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 test words, test words, test words. Ooh! Thank you very much, Joe, for getting the tickets. That is very much appreciated. Yeah, I'm going to dive headfirst into getting this little bit of video recorded. Except I'm going to start recording it at 10 minutes on StreamYard, just because that makes things significantly easier. It means that the edit is not a complete pain in the arse. So that is on 10 as the start. And then the end will be whenever the fuck I end the video. But 8 minutes, 10 minutes. Fun fact, YouTube pushes your videos more if it's more than 8 minutes, because at that point they're allowed to put mid-roll ads on. So if you are someone that does like relatively short YouTube videos, adjust it a little bit. You might notice that like at the end of no Beto. Why no Beto, Sly? Interesting. Have I missed something? I'll have a look. We can do better. Oh, right, okay. So not actually because news story, but because you don't want to. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start my recording in like 10 seconds. But in the meantime, Sly, you tell me players that we could get that are better than Beto in the number 9. I'm genuinely interested in what you say to this one. Anyway, let's get into the recording. Free transfers can be very, very useful if you're a club going from the Championship up into the Premier League. That would be because you've got less PSR space, which means you can spend less on fees and you can spend less on wages, and that effectively means that free transfers are an easy way of getting proven talent into your squad, especially if they are of the right standard. If they're not of the right standard, you've made a mistake. But if they are of the right standard, you've got someone that you can just like drag and drop into your squad. Brilliant. You've improved like that. And Daniel Farke may have been making some moves already that are pushing us very much in the right direction at the moment, because Leeds United have contacted a Premier League defender for a free transfer. Now, in this video, I'm going to go through who it is, if it could work, who we're competing with for them, some of my concerns around it, and whether or not we should make this move. But before I dive headfirst into all of that, I'm just going to again plug the Leeds Creator Cup, the charity match. Link down below to the website. If you get your tickets before the 31st of May, you'll be entered into a raffle to win a customized shirt that is one of the Leeds Creator Cup ones. Your name and number on the back, but there is going to be a grand total of something like 60 of these shirts made overall. They're going to be pretty damn rare. They look pretty damn nice. And yeah, it's the only way that you're realistically going to get a hold of them. Anyway, let's hop into it. Who the player is probably the reason you clicked on this, unless you got one of the specific titles. Fun fact, YouTube lets me send different titles to different people now, which is quite interesting. So if you see different titles, that's why. But it is Vladimir Coufal. Leeds United, according to Ben Jacobs, have actively reached out to Coufal now and said, would you be interested in moving to Leeds United, taking your career over in that direction and seeing how it goes? And there's a pretty long conversation there. Coufal is a fullback that currently plays for West Ham, and I will be completely honest with you, I'm not the most excited by this, but I'm going to get into why that is going forwards. In terms of why they could work, there's a few decent reasons. Vladimir Coufal has played a hell of a lot of football. The guy is 32 years old at the moment, bordering on 33. He will be there by the start of next season. And he's one of those sort of stodgy defensive players. He's a right back primarily, but he's someone that will put a lot of time and effort into the defensive side of his game. He's sort of the anti-Bogle, if that makes sense. That's roughly where I'm sort of putting him in terms of levels. Plays a little bit at left midfield as well, played a little bit at wing back. He's dropped in at centre back. He's done all kinds of bits and bobs for West Ham this season, but he's not done many bits and bobs for West Ham this season. So he's played 20 matches, but he's only got 958 minutes, which is saying that he's not really starting at all. He's coming off the bench a hell of a lot. Basically, we'd be signing a lot of experience, but not the highest level of quality, if all of that makes sense. In terms of competing clubs who Leeds United would be fighting against to sign this guy, Ben Jacobs' report also mentioned that Everton have a little bit of interest in him. They've also reached out and said, would you fancy continuing with us? So it's not the worst of conversations to be in. It's Leeds or it's Everton. And it puts us in reasonably good standing because, I mean, yes, they'll be moving into their new shiny stadium. But at the end of the day, I feel like Leeds' ownership is probably richer than Everton's ownership. It gets a little bit complicated if you include the Lowies and all that kind of stuff. But this is where I get a little bit confused, complicated, baffled, because I've got a few little concerns around potentially signing Coufal. My first of which is the fact that West Ham are not a team that are in the best of places right now. West Ham are a team that are hovering in, I think, currently 15th, with Scum and Spurs below them, and then it's the relegated teams, which says that the players in that squad aren't going to be the best in the league, unless you're putting it all down to the system, but you can't necessarily do that unless you've seen the team quite a lot. And in addition to that, he's not even starting within that side. So he's currently a bench player for a side that is 15th place in the league, and they are willingly releasing him from his contract, or at least not actively fighting to get him back. Because I feel like Coufal, if he had the opportunity, would be like, no, you know what? I might stick around at West Ham. So the concern here is if a club that is already in the Premier League is saying that he's not good enough and they are barely scraping to hang on, because let's be honest, if Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton were competitive, Scum, Spurs, West Ham, that's the one, would be dragged into that relegation battle because they would be taking points off other clubs. So the concern here is if he's not good enough for West Ham, why do we think he's going to be good enough for us? So it's spooky. In terms of where he'd fit in, for me, he is very, very clearly a secondary option. He's a sort of, you play Bogle first, and then if it comes to it, if you need to, for example, go to 5 at the back, Soufal can sit in as a centre-back for a little bit. Or if Bogle is injured and you maybe need to play slightly more solid, then you go for Soufal. Or if, for example, Sam Byram doesn't sign a contract, because as we learned with the retained list, Byram and Firpo are both in conversations at the moment to have their contracts extended, but it's not been confirmed in either direction. That's where he'd fit for me. But then you've got the further concern of if you're Soufal and you're looking at the Leeds side and you're like, well, I'm probably not getting a start over Jayden Bogle. So why would I go from a place I'm not starting to somewhere else I'm not starting? Maybe you want to go to Everton instead because you may be more likely to get minutes there. But then again, they've got fairly decent wing-backs as well. I say fairly decent, it's Everton, so fairly decent for Everton. But I still don't think Soufal starts there. So it all gets very, very confusing. I think if Soufal does come, he's a bench option, in my opinion. And that is where it gets a little bit complicated around would I sign them? And for me, it's a question around Byram and Firpo. If we are able to sign one or both of Byram and Firpo, probably I wouldn't go for Soufal. Because if I want to go for someone to potentially upgrade over Byram, I probably want to splash out and get someone that is known and decent. So Soufal has been on the bench a hell of a lot this season, and that's probably for a reason. And in the latter half of the season, I'll have a quick look at these games played, for example. Started against Scum, fair enough. Off the bench against West Ham on the 4th of May, off the bench against Brighton on the 26th of April. Played a full match against Southampton, fair enough. They drew against Southampton. That's not great. Came off the bench against Liverpool. So in matches against Spurs and Brighton and Liverpool, he's not starting, which says that against that upper half of the table, he's not necessarily trusted. So it's complicated for me. If we need depth, then yes. But if we're looking for someone to start for us in the Premier League, I think no. And I do personally think that Jayden Bogle is the place that I would go for a Premier League starter at right back, because I feel like he fits really nicely into the system, and our system accounts for him bombing on a little bit more effectively. We've got a system in which Bogle goes, Tanaka drops, or Ampadu drops, or Gruev drops, or whoever is playing in that right-hand side midfield berth drops in a little bit to cover. So I think it'll probably work out playing Bogle, and in that case I wouldn't go with Soufal unless you can sign someone. Well, it wouldn't be Soufal anyway, but I would go with Bogle unless you can sign someone that equally does that attacking job. Because I think the system is very reliant on the fullbacks doing well. And I don't know if Soufal is system built enough for it, if that all makes sense. But either way, that's just what I think. So let me know what you think down in the comments below, unless you're in the live stream, in which case do it in the chat. I'm not ending the stream here, I'm just ending the recording here. If you enjoyed the video or stream, pop a like on it. Subscribe if you're not yet. I crossed over 6,000 on Sunday, so that was very, very nice. Or become a channel member, where you get a bunch of videos early. Not this one, because this is being filmed on a live stream anyway, but a bunch of them. And yeah, also get tickets for the charity match down below. Very, very accessible. Massively appreciated. Thank you. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. I will see you later. Ta-ra. And that is the end of my itchy nose. There we go. Of that video. 9 minutes 7. That's not too bad, you know. That'll do. That'll do. We take it. Anyway, I set Sly a challenge at the start of the video recording, and that was to name a striker that is better than Beto that we can sign. And the response was not a striker. Sly, come on. Come on. We're talking number 9s here. The Newcastle fans giving Wilson a lot of stick can't be good for his confidence. I imagine it's not. You know what else isn't going to be good for his confidence? The fact that I still wouldn't sign him. I've seen a hell of a lot of people being like, well, I'd get Wilson. He's a proven quality forward. You know the issue with us getting Wilson? The issue with us getting Wilson is we are currently complaining about a number 9 that is too injured to play in spite of the fact that he's got a reasonable level of quality. Callum Wilson has played 16 matches this season. He's played 286 minutes. Off the top of my head, that's 17-ish minutes per game. So at best, you're signing a bench option if you go for Wilson. I don't think it suits us. I think we need a 6, a goalie, a left back, a right-sided centre-back, number 9. You see, I always call a defensive midfielder a 4 rather than a 6, but fair enough. 9, 10, Solomon again. What do you think? Goalie, yes. Left back, depends on Firpo. Right-sided centre-back, maybe. We need, ideally, a centre-back that can do either. Like, it's fine. Or left-sided centre-back, either way. Number 9, yep. Number 10, yep. Solomon, absolutely. Yeah, I think I agree with most of that. Although I quite like a progressive midfielder as well. Lose my mind if we sign Mudryk in a good or bad way, that's the question. Although it's good to have you here. He's got a great crossing and very dependable, although has a mistake in him. That's what we need to not have, is the thing. We need to not have those mistakes and those slip-ups. By that logic, we shouldn't go back in for Solomon because they're low in the table. No, but Solomon is consistently playing for a side that just got promoted. That's the difference here. Like, if it was someone at Spurs that are just not really playing, let's have a look. Let's find an equivalent. That'll do. Well, no, because you might disagree with me. Ben Davis has only played 16 matches for Spurs, and they are a team that is defensively crap, and he's still not getting into their backline. That's what I mean. I mean, he's not looking good in the area that is weak, which means that he's sort of a double weak in a club that is bad, which makes it like a triple weak. That's why it's a little bit spooky to me. I've got no idea what you mean, Phil, but I'm not going to read out the full name because ha 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 ha. I'm not falling for it. But I don't think he is too attacking for the Premier League. I think we've got a system that works for it. I didn't see enough of it, I'll be honest with you. Indeed, yeah. I'm in the spot where I'm trying to get streams and stuff done on a daily basis. And if I didn't do that now, I wasn't going to get one done on Saturday or Sunday, so I had to get that. What's the Schmidt-tuation? Haha. Don't know. I think we can expect to see him next season. And I think it'll be affected a bit by the Firpo thing. But I don't see him necessarily leaving. I think he had some adaptation issues from Switzerland in the early stages of the season. In fact, I know he had some adaptation issues earlier in the season because I've been talking to people that know things. So I think that's more it. He played a lot more towards the end of the season, and I can see him playing a reasonable bit of football in the coming days. I agree with you. I don't think we can do it on the cheap like Ipswich buying Champa level players. Yeah, I think Ipswich's goal was let's sign players, hope we go up, and hope we stay up. And then they went down. And I think they're hoping that with those championship players they can go up again, but that's going to be a challenge. That isn't going to happen, I wouldn't say. Could name me a lot of strikers better than Beto. Yes, but ones that are looking like they want to leave their clubs and would realistically head to Leeds. The Lap is not going to come to Leeds, and Abraham has been kind of shit recently. Don't say that I've not been watching him, because I literally worked the match that that his team played tonight. Keep in mind, it is my job to watch a lot of European football. But yeah, he's had very spotty minutes anyway, so makes sense. I think people don't realise is we can be super ambitious unless the player wants European football. We can sign them with the right wages. Yeah, but it depends on what number the right wages are, you know? Solomon striker keeper, then see how it goes until transfer season ends. 10. Need a 10. I very much like Aronson. I really, 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 really enjoy Aronson. But I wouldn't trust him as our 10 in the Premier League. Off the bench, perfect. Not starting for me. Do not spoil. I'm planning on watching it. I don't know who you mean. What? I had a Chinese for tea yesterday. That was quite nice. Piru may do well in the Prem, but will not know if he's not given the chance. Yeah, I think at the very least we keep Piru around. Someone in a chat the other day said something profound. Why don't they just dredge the Division 1 for hidden talent for the Prem? What do you mean the Division 1? All you've done is confuse me. Love Mudruck as a player, be great with Farke. I don't know. Now if one talks tonight, I won't let the cat out of the bag. Oh, but I watched the race and it was fun. I mean, I worked the race and it was fun. But... I'm not touching this one because I'm scared. I should try Evan Tony. I'm sure he's getting lots of Saudi because I don't know. I don't know if he did come back, it would be to a European football side. It wouldn't be to us. Like it'd be worth us having a conversation, but I think the moment we got in touch with his agent, he'd be like, "You're not Arsenal," so that's roughly where we'd end up. This is where it's confusing, right? Because what's the difference is the question. Because I think either way, you're trying to recruit quality. And I think it's just different tiers of quality. So obviously you want the best players that you can possibly get in those positions. So either way, it's fine. I could have said anyone, you'd say, no, you're too stubborn like me. What? What have I missed? I'm so confused. Oh, you're on about the Abraham and Delap thing? No, that's because Abraham is genuinely, like, he's missing a lot of football. So if I go with season report at Milan, is he currently at Milan or at Roma? It's Milan. I thought so. There we go. Matches. Yeah. So this season, all he's done is a lot of coming off the bench, and in terms of his numbers, it's not been great. He's been very much lagging behind where you'd expect in terms of Abraham. So I wouldn't be super tempted to sign him. I've got to be honest with you. Like he's got a good few matches as an unused sub as well, which says that he's not necessarily the best choice. But he's still better than Beto. I don't think he is. Genuinely, I don't. Let's have a look at the matches he scored in, right? So in the league, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's not great. He scored a total of 3 goals in the league this season in 29 appearances. That's not good enough. And Serie A is a weaker league than the Premier League. It's not. No. Not Abraham. For many, many reasons. Initials because of Butcher and then plays for Kiev and highly linked. Let's have a look. Dynamo Kiev. Sorry, Kiev, my bad. Vladislav Vanat is the one guy that I can see, maybe? I'm going to have a look at this guy's numbers because I've never heard of him before. 23, 43 goals and 78 for Keith is not bad. Maybe. I'll have to have a look. Are we all ready now for the Creator Cup? No. Because already is a very, very big word. On the whiteboard in front of me, I've got a list. And it's a list of all the things that I need to sort, which is venue, production, insurance, kits, balls, and a bunch of other things, including like music licensing, which is great. But venue is booked, done, paid for, everything. Production, done, booked, paid for, everything. Insurance, done, paid for. Balls, sorted. Referee, sorted. Music licensing, fine. Evie's husband is building a podium for the trophy. We've got the trophy. Do I want to do medals? I'll do medals depending on what sponsorship money's looking like at that point. Kits are the big question right now. Kits will be sorted at the end of this month because on the 31st of May, I'm going to do this ad read again because I have to. There will be a raffle between everyone that currently has a ticket for the Creator Cup. If you have a ticket by the 31st of May, congratulations. You are eligible to win a customized Leeds Creator Cup shirt. It can be from the Roses team, it can be from the Peacocks, it can be the third kit, which I've not yet revealed. It's the one that the goalkeepers and volunteers will be wearing. And there will be, I think, a grand total of like 55, 60 of these customized shirts that exist from the Creator Cup. So it's real rare. And if you were planning on going anyway, then all you've done is buy a ticket a little bit earlier. Please buy them as early as you can if you have an interest in going. If you don't, then there is a pretty big chance that the venue get really mad at us, because if we go over 1,400 people, we need to open the top stand as well. If a load of people arrive on the day thinking that they can just buy a ticket on the door, then that means that we may have to either turn people away or say, look, venue, please can we do this? And then they would charge us exorbitant amounts of money. And when I say us, I mean me. And I can't do that. So let's, if you want to be at the Leeds Creator Cup, you're going to need a ticket, and please get it early because that'll be lovely. Anyway, my friend went to see the Saudi Arabia. Everyone got Saudi COVID from a spitting camel. That's odd. That's not the sentence I expected to read right there. Why would you want to live in Liverpool? I wouldn't. It's a good question. Premier League, Championship, League One. I meant not Division One. Basically, all third division. There's not much. There's really not much. Because the gaps between the divisions are so huge right now that even the best of League One is nowhere near Premier League. He wouldn't at all. Think of the amount of football Andrea watches in Italy, as mentioned by Einar. No. Not Abraham. Take into consideration transfer cost, clauses, wages, age of player wants to play for Leeds. Let's consider when buying a player. Yeah, there's tons. Which is why I could never do like director of football stuff. Is the ref FA licensed? I believe so. Balls, check them regularly if you got them. Yes, it's all for Prostate Cancer UK as well. And to clarify once more, every single penny of the ticket revenue we get, of the donations that we get, all of that goes directly to Prostate Cancer UK. All of the costs, because this also covers what our loco has asked, all of the costs are being covered by sponsors. I have reached out to like 3 or 4 different companies who are covering the costs of things. And if there is anything that goes above that costs, I'm putting everything that this YouTube channel earns into a separate little pot. And I'm saying that this is just in case, if things get too expensive, this little pot is hopefully a little bit of a shield to make sure that we can like cushion against that. So in terms of break even, we are already breaking even. Which means that ideally you guys can get the tickets and give £3 for a child and £7 for an adult to Prostate Cancer UK. Because as we learned literally today with the news about Joe Biden, prostate cancer can happen to anyone. So Will there be any females playing? No, there is one reason for that. And that is because, 1 second, I'm going to do a scaled model. So if you're sketching out what various things cost for the charity match, and I'm going to do it in the size of boxes. We're doing histograms today, ladies and gentlemen. So about 3 of those. That's about 3 of those. And then I will do this about that. Okay, so I love having massive post-it notes because it makes it very, very useful. On the subject of will there be any women playing, this is an approximate histogram of what things will cost. So the venue costs about this much. Streaming is 3 times more expensive than the venue costs. It's expensive to stream things. And insurance would be down here. It's about 1/4 of the venue cost. If we were to have any women playing, the cost of insurance becomes this. Because the risk of injuries, or at least the perceived risk of injuries on the part of the insurance company, increases hugely. So you can't cover that, which means that it would cost us more than the entire event costs to insure the event, which feels like a bad idea. So instead, we have Evie on commentary. We've got Crystal is covering the pitch side hosting, which is going to be very nice. We have a female director that is going to, well, director, producer, I don't know, either way, that is helping out with a lot of the stuff. Basically, as much female involvement as we can get, but we can't get on the pitch, which is a shame because it would be nice. But, are the 49ers or Red Bull made any contributions? I haven't found any contact details for the 49ers or, in fact, Red Bull, because one of them is an investment group, which means obviously they don't really have a website or presence. One of them is Red Bull, and you go to their website and they say, we're not open for sponsorships right now, which, to be fair, makes complete sense because the amount of shit they sponsor is ridiculous. But they just, they won't have sponsor money. Is the issue. 150 million is barely more than we went nigh on bankrupt for just 20 years ago. I am confused by those words. Better check your balls. I got red balls. Indeed, red. My favourite Formula 1 team is Visa Cash App Red Ball. No, it's not. What is my favourite team? I think I have one. Ever since Sebastian Vettel retired, I've just been sort of I'm here for the vibe. I don't support anyone in particular, which is a nice place to be. It's nice and chill. I'm afraid people Joe's drawing diagrams to reply to my question. I am, but it's helpful diagrams, so that's all good. I haven't watched Serie A for years, but I'm only going on Andrea's words, and as Joe rightly pointed out, that guy watches a lot of football. He does. And I watched, I had 3 Serie A games on at the same time earlier. That was fun. Because it's the second last match of the season. So they timed that one and the last match of the season all at the same time, so no one has an advantage. Okay, I'm ignoring those, Broner's Ghost. Make sure content creators leads content creators against other club content creators. That sounds like a fun idea. I don't hate it, but the issue I've got with that is we'd need to start leaving people out. And I really don't want to do that because we've got a really nice community and I don't want to be the one to leave anyone out. Even the people that I've had disagreements with in the past. For example, KG. I asked if he wanted to come because it's like a whole community thing. So I feel like if you do that, you're getting to the point of needing to split people down. And currently it's split into like 2 teams, but that's what football is. So that's a necessity. But just leaving people out wouldn't sit right with me, I don't think. Not as straightforward as people think. Well, yeah, if it was just as easy as I get this camera and I rent out a stadium and I get a bunch of people, I give them all some shirts and I say, go, that'd be really nice, but it isn't. Wow, interesting. I don't know which bit you're talking about, I'll be honest with you. Larry Nance. I DM'd Larry Nance, actually. He's not gotten back to me. And I feel like he might not, but I feel like that man's DMs are very, very busy, so I completely understand it. I might see if I can go via the Auto Know Better lads. Maybe. Surely Red Bull will throw in some free cans if you can get a contact. Yeah, but the issue is with getting a contact. Also, I don't drink Red Bull, so I'd be getting a partnership that there is no benefit from. And I feel like drinking a Red Bull in the middle of a football match is a bad idea. Leeds content creator against Man U content creators. That's where things get scary, and that would be difficult to ensure. Because that is when it gets violent. Oh, I get you. Right, okay. That makes sense. Play dirty, those women can understand the insurance comps won't insure you against them. Yeah, I know. It's horrible and nasty. Neither Inter or Napoli seem to want to win the title. The really fun fact about that is because in Italian football, if 2 teams are level on points, it comes down to a head-to-head or like a mini-league. If they end on the same number of points, then there needs to be a playoff to decide who wins the league, and that is going to be hype. That is going to be incredible. Very much looking forward to that. We're all Leeds family, and families bicker a lot. Yeah, it's fun. What platforms is the Creator Cup game broadcast on? The creators and myself had a big old conversation about this, and it was sort of like, well, where do we put it? And we landed on YouTube and this channel because it's easier to keep it all in one place. And as much as I was like offering it around and being like, Joe, do you want it? Or does Ollie Ward want it? Or does LUFC Lewis want it? The general consensus was, if I'm doing the setup, it's fair enough to whack on here. Will you be asking those watching the live stream to make a donation? It won't be mandatory to watch it, just because finding a way to do that and make it like pay-per-view is almost impossible. But we will be asking nicely time and time and time and time again, because I think it's an important thing to do. It's a really, really good cause, and if we're able to help it out, then let's do that, That'd be great. I am both looking forward to it and terrified, because I know that if it goes wrong, it might have gone wrong because it's a thing that I've done wrong. And that makes me sad. You do realise if Stre... Oh, no. Oh, no. If Stre... What do you mean, if Stre... But also, I will be very much encouraging people to please attend at the stadium, because please, 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 that'd be nice. It may prevent people coming to the match. It might do, yes, but it's also a position of the entire concept of this came from stuff that we do online, including live streams. So it would have felt weird if, for example, Sean Healy was unable to watch because he's in Ireland. It feels fair that he's able to sort of keep up with what's going on. It's to make it more accessible, because accessibility, that's my thing. You got to make things open and doable for everyone. But yeah, I think that's probably the best way of doing it. And as much as it might mean that a couple of people are just like, I'll just stay at home and watch it. That's fine, because we're still getting like ad revenue and stuff like that. Or that's a fun challenge. How do I make that happen? Because sometimes YouTube does ads whenever it wants. I'm going to have to work that out. It'll be fine. We'll work it out. It's all good. Have you got Bucket and Sponge on Magic Spray for game day injuries? We've got people doing medical things, which is nice. So hopefully everyone will be okay. Jim and Ina are just having a nice chat, which is all good. Would you have Rothwell back for set pieces? It'd be important in the Prem. I think there's other set piece takers around. I don't mind Rothwell, but I think we can maybe do better. I was going to get a ticket, but my son hates being around loads of people, so going to have to watch it on TV. Ah, bugger. Okay. That's fair enough. But thank you for letting me know. I'm also potentially going to put out something that is asking if people are able to help, because we may need some volunteers to see if they can do stewardy stuff. Because, we're going to need stewardy people. Mustafa Bondu. Let's have a look. Is he better than Beto? Mustafa Bondu at Plymouth is your example of players that are better than Beto. Mustafa Bondu, who scored 10 goals in the Championship, when Beto scored 8 in the Premier League in 8 fewer matches. That is your choice. No. Medic, so I know, woke nonsense. Food on the day and license? That's a thing where I still need to talk to Wayne's friend about that. I need to sort out the details, but the people at the council are not necessarily getting back to me very quickly. So we're going to have to sort various bits and bobs out around that. Pondu better value. Yes, but he's also not good enough. Being a medic at events is a great job, usually easy work and a free ticket. The hope is it's easy work. In terms of a free ticket, the hope is it's for charity, so they wouldn't mind chucking some in. But ultimately, yeah, fair enough. Right. On this, saying like Bundu as an investment, he's 28. He's not like a young player that's going to get better and better and better and better. He's 28 years old. That doesn't scream potential and ability to grow. That screams championship player to me. Do normal camera phones sufficiently film a match? No, but thankfully, we're not using normal camera phones. I mean, I'm not currently using a normal camera phone. I'm using a like DSLR. But for the thing itself, we've got a couple of 4K cameras and a 1080p camera, so we'll have plenty of stuff ready. We ain't getting Beto hitting a purple patch. I mean, that doesn't mean that he's not going to leave, you know? Haven't seen any squad lists. Are they available to view yet? Are there some last-minute transfers pending? It's confusing. In terms of squad lists, I'm not going to be fully announcing stuff until the 1st of June, is what I'm going to be saying. Because at that point, I'll have sent off the order for the shirts. And the moment I send off the order for the shirts, things become a little bit more locked in. I'm also going to be doing a bunch of plain shirts that we can just like permanent marker people's names on the back, just because that's going to make things a little bit simpler in case we need to change things. But last minute transfers / injuries / unavailability is what is more likely to be pending. Yeah, there's loads of parking, so that isn't going to be the problem. I'm sure the license shouldn't be a problem, but don't quote me on that. I assume it won't, but we'll find out. How about Broya? Let's have a look at Armando Broya. The issue is, you're suggesting Broja as like an alternative to Beto. Broja isn't starting for Everton because of Beto. Beto is the one blocking the route for Broja. So like you've already got an indication of like the level of quality that the two are playing at. Did you reach out to Yorkshire Post, Calendar, Look North, Lisa? Well, the plan is to do so, just not quite yet because we're still 2 months out. It'll be in the next week that we're going to be doing that. But as mentioned, like this past 2 days, in fact, I'm going to find the number. I want to see the number. Give me the number. Yeah, there we go. In the past 36 hours, I've been working for 21 of them. So I've not particularly had the time to do so, but the plan is to relatively soon. Anybody in the Bundesliga? It's Farke's backyard. There'll be a couple, but I don't know, to be honest with you. Anyway, what I'm probably going to do is I am likely going to do 1 or 2 more quick messages, comments, questions about the charity match, and then I am going to bring the stream to a close, just because I need to do that at some point, and I need to do a video for... Well, I've done the video, but I need to put out the video for the morning. That you guys are just we're not telling anyone that we've recorded the video in here, because then people will watch here and they won't watch the video. Also, you could do me a little bit of a favor, and when the video comes out in the morning, please watch it, because that means it'll get pushed out to more people. And if we're able to do that, then thank you. If you get a former player or current player to present the cup, it would boost your attendance. It would. The issue that we are having there, and the reason that, because being a content creators cup, we were in the spot where we thought that like journalists are technically content creators. They create written content. So the thinking was reach out to the likes of Graham Smith, and Popey is another example, and Bryn for another example. And then a few months after we announced the date of the Creator Cup, the match in Sweden was announced, which is the day before. Which means that all the people with club affiliations are in Sweden, which makes it a little bit more difficult to invite them along, I would say. So yeah, a lot of them will be over watching the match against Scum, which is a pain, but it's a pain that we will deal with. We'll work something out. You will not believe this. I have asked Phil if he wanted to come along. I asked Phil if he wanted to play, because I have the odd chat with Phil. He's a great dude. I might find if I can see the specific wording that he used. Just because. There we go. Thanks for the offer. I'm going to decline on the basis that I've got a kickboxing black belt grading around that time. Yeah, so that explains it for me. So he's not available because he's going to be kicking people in the head, which is what he'd be doing at the match as well. But it's fine. How much ball is it there? I cannot decipher that sentence. I'm so sorry, Michael. Anyway. I've got to end there because I am a tired boy and I still need to upload a video. So I hope you enjoyed the stream. If you did, pop a like on it. Subscribe if you're not yet as well. That's always fantastic. And you can even become a channel member. It's £2.99 and it gives you like access to like all the videos early. It's great. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you later. Maybe tomorrow. I've got a fun stream idea that I'm going to do in the next few days, and I will remember to do it this time. Anyway, see you later.